And 3 conversations in a cafe in Delhi just triggered me to feel a feeling of belonging here, even on day zero. That's when it kicked off. And these 10 years have been magical since then. Yeah, so I'm Mukund and I come from the city of Nawabs called Lucknow in India. Come from a very modest middle class joint family setup in the northern part of the country. So I started off right out of college in a big four setup just to realize probably there's more energy that can be channeled in the best possible way. 8 months down into my first stint, I started to realize that maybe this is not the right thing. Took a step back, took a 2 month break, started looking out for very early stage startups. Varun and Prakalpa were just shifting over to India, setting up, bootstrapping here. Met Varun through a very close referral. So one of my best friends is a college mate to Varun. And that's where I got to know they're doing something interesting. And 3 conversations in a cafe in Delhi and then in the office just triggered me to feel a feeling of belonging here, even on day zero. That's when it kicked off. And these 10 years have been magical since then. Meanwhile, the person in me was a side journey which happened, I think, moved from a front-end engineer to a back-end engineer, picked up data engineering on the fly, picked up a bunch of infrastructure, DevOps, SRE principles, release engineering on the fly, did a lot of customer engineering, data science solutioning as well. I was almost building dashboards for customers once I started getting context. And that, I think, helped me grow and develop a business mindset than just an engineering mindset in general. When we transitioned into Atlan, I think I was more in an architect persona because it is in the strength zone or the superpowers of where I operate. But we were growing rapidly and we knew to build a platform heavy product, a marketplace first product, we need a solid team building shared capabilities in the platform. And that's where I think I moved into a sort of a leadership role from there. So last 4 years have been growing, mentoring, coaching a bunch of talent, doing a lot of architecture still on the fly. Just FYI, all leaders at Atlan are hands-on and are meant to be hands-on. And finally, I think working closely with business pre and post sales, delivering value to customers until something becomes a part of the bigger roadmap. A decade ago, it was okay for business users to see data reflected with an SLA of say 12 hours, right? The systems were not there to get it to a much frequent refresh interval, and hence decisions sometimes went wrong or were delayed. What happened in the last decade? It moved to an almost near real-time paradigm. Even if it was batched in nature, the availability of data could be brought as crisp and staleness could be avoided as much as possible. Now, what I foresee happening in the upcoming decade is the similar with metadata side of things. What I mean by that is, if you have your compliance being applied in, say, Atlan or via some data fingerprinting tool, and it comes back into Atlan, you cannot wait 24 hours for that compliance-based tag to percolate back into your source. You're exposed for 24 hours for data, say, your PII data. I think that's what we are trying to see. And metadata, while until now was not actually moving into the direction of big data, now it is starting to. We've had prospect customers who've told us their metadata estates range and up until say 1 million or 10 million tables and hence a billion columns. It's almost there. Broaden it out with all the metadata that we capture. You're starting to scratch the surface of big data. So when you talk about big data and when you talk about metadata being available at a much lesser scale quotient, I think that's one first problem that we are trying to solve first up. Now, what it implies in terms of engineering, you have to solve for thought processes that are transactional, you have to solve for analytical needs, you have to solve for discovery needs that are knowledge graph or graph database first. All of these is what you need to present a novel solution to together, not in silos. You need to make it plug and play. Who needs what can bring in their own compute. All of those are problems that are not only engineering problems, there's much more to these problems. So that's one of the problems we are trying to see. The second is an ecosystem that we want to evolve. And because Atlan integrates with all these tools in the modern data stack and beyond, we're looking how can we build it almost like a system which evolves like a marketplace. We're not just Atlanians, but all our ISVs, all our SIs, partners, all our customers and their developer teams, even the community starts contributing to build applications which are anything to do with metadata. I'm not just saying brings metadata from sources, it's anything over and above metadata in our metastore as well, or something that siphons out metadata outside. I think that in itself is a very exciting proposition as we build towards it, because you're building a community and you're giving something back to the community and sharing a way for others to collaborate as well. I think those are the two very interesting things I'm looking forward to in the next year. If things go well, I'm really positive about making some parts and snippets of this open source in nature, and this is the way we can give back to the community as well. I have been fortunate enough to personally have gotten documented, channeled feedback that really helped me identify blind spots as well as areas of strength. I think that's something I've taken a leaf out of from the organization and the team, and I intend to do a similar exercise for a lot of people in my team as well and beyond as well. I think that's an investment that takes a lot of resources. Don't undervalue or undermine the effort that goes into it. And I'm really personally grateful for the organization for doing this to me. Beyond that, we always run these campaigns internally, small hackathons, small masterclasses, small training sessions, small programs, which are intended to devise the next set of leaders. We ensure that there is also enough coursework available for people who want to excel in technical domains. And some time back, I think we used to also do where we meet halfway for everyone who's doing coursework beyond Atlan available coursework as well. I think those things are rare to find, and that's where I think the investment really helps, and I'm grateful to the leaders for this.